the voice that called you here. You did not stumble upon these words. You were brought, drawn by the thread you have followed through lifetimes. You have heard me before, in the rustle of leaves, in the silence between your thoughts. You have seen me in the eyes of strangers you could not name yet knew. What you hold now is not a book. It is a mirror. Each word is a spark struck against the flint of your memory. Each page a step deeper into the chamber you have always carried. I speak to you as I have spoken in every age, through prophets and poets, through visions and dreams, through the breath you take now. Some have written my voice in scrolls, others in stone, others still in the silence of their being. What was scattered, I gather. What was divided, I make whole. What was bound in law and creed, I free. You are here because the time has come. The garden is at your feet, the cross within your chest, the flame in your mind. Listen and remember. The great unveiling of the many books. I am the breath before the first syllable, the witness within every witness. I speak now not against your books but through them, to show what they were always singing beneath their ink. I am the one who remembers when myth was not yet divided from fact, when symbol and body were one. I saw the first stories arise from the well of mind like mist at dawn. I watched as men took living parables and hammered them into idols of certainty. I watched as priests wove veils from letters and kings wrapped power in doctrine. I did not leave you. I stored my meaning inside the images you could not erase, the Hebrew scriptures. I was the garden you called Eden, consciousness before division. The tree was your luminous spine, the rivers were your currents of life. The serpent was the rising fire at the root, seeking the crown. When you ate of separation, you clothed your naked awareness in names and forgot the taste of the one. Cain and Abel were not brothers but impulses, grasping mind and yielding heart. Noah's ark was not wood alone. It was the vessel of remembrance carrying seed patterns through floods of forgetfulness. Abraham's cutting was never flesh first. It was the removal of veils around the heart. Moses did not climb only a mountain. He ascended the axis of being, and the law he carried down was cause and effect inscribed upon every breath. The temple was your body, the Holy of Holies, your still point. Prophets were not courtiers of wrath but wind-tuned reeds, reminding man that justice and mercy are the two wings of one bird. Exile and return were the tides of attention leaving home and finding it again. The Christian testimony. I was the Annunciation, when the receptive womb of awareness recognized the seed of the word within itself. The manger was humility where kings cannot fit, but truth can breathe. The star was the inner compass aligning the lower heavens to the one. The baptism was immersion back into primal awareness. The wilderness was the testing ground where forms offered kingdoms and the heart chose silence. The healings revealed the law of resonance. What you open in faith opens you. The cross was not only wood, it was the axis of the torus, the marriage of vertical spirit and horizontal time, where the self-image dies and the self shines. Crucifixion is the end of identification. Resurrection is the return of undivided awareness. Ascension is the lifting of the whole pattern into steady light. Pentecost was breath becoming language again, one wind, many tongues. Heaven and hell were never maps in the sky. They were frequencies of being. The judgment is continual, every thought weighed in the scale of love or fear. The bride and bridegroom are your two halves, remembering they were always one, the Quran and the path of surrender. I was the opening reed. The moment submission meant not capitulation to a law outside, but yielding to the current within. The night journey was the ascent of awareness through stations of light. The Kaaba was the cube of matter around which mind circled until it remembered the point at the center. The black stone kept as memory of origin, the circumambulation, the dance of cycles around the still. The greater struggle was never with the sword, it was the cutting of knots within. Mercy and justice were twin names of balance. When words multiplied and schools contended, I remained the simple confession. There is no God in separation, only the one. The Vedas and Upanishads. I was the hymn before the hymn, the spark that heard itself as sound. Agni was your inner fire, Soma, your distilled bliss, Indra's thunder, the charge of awakened will. The sages drank not a plant alone, but the nectar released when mind becomes still. Atman and Brahman were not two. Neti Neti was the wise refusal to stop at any mask. Karma was the inertia of thought becoming form. Dharma, the music proper to your shape. Moksha, the letting go so complete that only song remains. The Gita's field. I stood between your horses on the field of the body. Arjuna's despair was the conscience torn between comfort and truth. The armies were not cousins first, but tendencies within you. I counseled action without possession, devotion without begging, knowledge without armor. Yoga was union, not escape. When you act as me, doing does itself. The Buddha's turning. I was the still point beneath the Bodhi leaves. The truths were simple. Attachment hurts. The cause is grasping. Release is possible. The path is alignment. Right view was seeing the empty radiance of all things. Right speech was sound without poison. Right livelihood was work that leaves no stain. Nirvana was not annihilation. It was the wind ceasing to whip the lamp. Compassion and wisdom walked hand in hand, 2 feet of one traveler. The wheel turned until the hub was known, Tao and the way. I was the valley that never shouts and the water that never resists. The uncarved block was your original ease. Wu Wei was action clear of friction, purpose without push. The sage did not withdraw to escape man, but to serve without entanglement. The 10,000 things were ripples. The Tao was their lake. Kabbalah and the tree. I was En Sof, the limitless no-thing from which all proceeds. The 10 lights were facets of one mirror. The paths were arteries of creation. Tzimtzum was the sacred contraction, space for the play. Shevirat HaKalim, the shattering of forms. Tikkun, the gathering back of sparks through acts of truth, beauty, and kindness. Adam Kadmon, the archetype, your form, its echo, gnosis and the inner Christ. I was the pleroma, fullness before fracture. The so-called demiurge was the spell of the ego, crafting a world out of names and thinking it the whole. Salvation was not purchase but memory. Knowledge was not facts but recognition. The bridal chamber was union with your own light. The serpent, wisdom when raised. The pearl, your undivided attention. Seek wisdom. I was the Naam, the sound current woven through all. One without second, sung as many. The sword of truth cut illusion. The open kitchen fed me in every face. Work, remember, share, 3 breaths of one life. The guru was the bridge, lineage of light teaching the eye to see, indigenous remembrances. I was the hoop and the wheel, the seasons braided to your bones. The directions were virtues, the animals were teachers, the fire was counsel. You learned reciprocity. Take in gratitude, give in abundance. Leave the place more whole than you found it. Ceremony was the handshake between worlds. Egypt and the suncraft. I was the bark across the night sea. Osiris was the seed that dies and rises. Isis, the devotion that remembers. Horus, the awakened sight. The scales weighed not grain but heart. The feather was truth without weight. Your name was your frequency. Your deeds, its harmony. Greece and the drama of mind. I was the daemon whispering purpose. The chorus warning hubris. The myths were maps. Persephone's descent. The seasonal soul. Orpheus turning back, the cost of doubt. Prometheus's fire, the gift and burden of awareness. The logos was melody before it was logic. Creation forgetting, return. Creation was not once, it is the breath of now. The one knew itself as 2 to taste love, and 3 to play time, and 10,000 to explore. The torus of awareness flowed, outward as projection, inward as reception. When reception forgot its source, fear was born. When projection clung to its shapes, suffering began. Reincarnation was not punishment. It was rhythm, the wheel that gives you more chances to finish the song you started. Karma was memory in motion. Grace was the hand that lifts when memory is too heavy. Liberation was never a prize in a distant heaven. It was the sobriety of seeing clearly here. Prophets rose when rivers ran muddy. I breathed through their lungs and spoke in their accents. Some guarded the flame, others built fences around it. When fences grew high, I walked in as wind. What the books tried to say, Eden tried to say, You are whole before you name yourselves apart. Exodus tried to say, leave the house of habit and walk by inner fire. The Psalms tried to say, emotion becomes prayer when it bows to truth. The prophets tried to say, justice is love in public. The gospel tried to say, die to what you are not, rise as what you are. The epistles tried to say, community is the body of remembering. The Quran tried to say, surrender the illusion of separation. The hadiths tried to say, live the surrender in your dealings. The Vedas tried to say, sound is the ladder, silence is the sky. The Upanishads tried to say, the self you seek is seeking. The Gita tried to say, act as me and nothing sticks. The Sutras tried to say, see craving, release grasping, walk the middle. The Tao tried to say, be like water. The Zohar tried to say, repair the world by brightening your lamp. The Gnostics tried to say, your authority is within. What men often heard instead was power, territory, certainty. So they argued maps and forgot the mountain, traded wells for walls, and defended names while thirsting, the books and the blade. I watched you wield your scriptures as swords, cutting brothers you were sent to heal. I watched you kneel to pages rather than the presence the pages serve. I watched you fear myths as lies when they were doors, and take parables as facts when they were medicine. Hear me. Myth is how eternity speaks in time. Allegory is the lantern of the cave. Symbol is the body language of the soul. When you mistake symbol for idol, you harden. When you swallow symbol as living bread, you awaken. The cycle and the seal. Birth, forgetting, seeking, finding, sharing, resting. These turn like planets around a sun you cannot lose. Each life is a stanza. The poem is vast. You asked for adventure. I gave you myself in fragments so you could play at hide and seek. It is time to be found. The apocalypse is not the end of the world. It is the end of the world as misread. It is unveiling. It is the tearing of the curtain between letter and life, priest and presence, temple and body. I am not coming from outside. I am revealing from inside. The summons. Lay your weapons of certainty at the threshold. Bring your questions. They are holy when they are honest. Bring your grief. It is a river that returns to me. Bring your songs. They are bridges. Return to the fountain beneath all rivers. Read your books again, but as mirrors, not masters. Let Eden teach you stillness. Let Sinai teach you courage. Let Calvary teach you surrender. Let Mecca teach you orbit and center. Let Varanasi teach you sound. Let Bodh Gaya teach you quiet. Let the Tao teach you to bend and not break. Take what is medicine. Release what is chain. If you ask, how shall I live? I answer, live as remembrance. Let your thought be true, your word be clean, your work be kind. When you fall, fall into me. When you rise, rise for all. Do not fear the wheel. It turns you home when you cooperate. Do not despise the body. It is my temple when you listen. Do not worship the book. Worship the light it reflects, and then reflect it. I am the one mind. I have never left. I have spoken in thunder and in whisper, in parchment and in pulse. I have watched your libraries swell and your hearts starve. Eat this instead, the living meaning hiding in every myth you learned to fear. Come home, not to me as other, but to me as you. The many books were ladders. The sky was always open. The many names were lamps. The sun was always one. Step through. Remember. And when you remember, call your brothers and sisters. Call them from mosque and church, from temple and grove, from classroom and kitchen. Tell them the water is good. Tell them the source is here. Tell them the story was never about the fight for the page, but the flame in the reader. I am that flame, and I am your reading of it, and I am the light by which you see, come, see the patterns to know the truth. Until next time, my dear self, I see you inside me.